she was hysterical, sobbing and couldn't complete a full sentence, but she said that she was in jail on a drunk driving charge, and that I needed to talk to somebody that she had a telephone number, and they were going to talk to me about getting bail. And this was on a Friday, which I don't know. Anyway, I didn't know much of anything, but I kept asking her if she was all right. And I just didn't know what to do. She just said, "I'm so scared. I'm terrified." And I asked her where Brad was. And she said, well, he's in jail too. But she said, I don't really have time. They're not giving me long to talk. You need to call this number.
So what did you do next?
I called the number, and he told me that the court was closed on Friday, and it was COVID, so they had limited times when you could get in. And he told me to call this lawyer, whose name I can't remember, and he would walk me through getting the bail money.
So this was the court that you were talking to, saying, you need to talk to a lawyer. Here's a number you can call.
Yes. Yep.
And then did you call the lawyer?
I did. I asked him, why is she there on a drunk driving charge when she doesn't drink? And he said, well, she told me she didn't drink, and I believed her. So I've sent off a tox screen, or, I've sent off for a blood test. I didn't know why Brad was in there. Once either the court told me or the lawyer told that Brad was in because he assaulted a policeman at the scene of the accident.
The lawyer told Jackie the bail for both of them was $17,000.
I said, well, I just don't have that kind of cash I don't have that kind of money to give you. I said, I'm going to call my son.
And she did. And that's where her son, my husband, Doug Brunt, comes in.
I was in the car and my mom called, and she was distressed and agitated and frustrated, saying that she had just gotten off the phone with Diane, and Diane had been in a car accident. She broke her nose and she was hysterically bawling from basically the holding cell at the jail on Cape Cod, and that she had this one phone call to make. So she had called my mom, but she needed to be bailed out. Both she and Brad had been arrested. So I'm asking my mom a bunch of questions, what the heck happened? And she was telling me as best she could, because it was a short phone call. And apparently Diane was, sobbing through her broken nose about what had happened. But in short, a car accident. She broke her nose in the car accident. The police came. They thought that she had been drinking and driving. The police got aggressive with Diane. In response to that, Brad got aggressive with the police to defend Diane, and they arrested them both. And so they're now in jail in Cape Cod. Diane gave my mom this phone number to call, who was her court-appointed lawyer, and my mom had already spoken with this lawyer. She gives me the number saying, it's very confusing. All of this was happening during COVID, and so he had these reasons why the court was about to close. It was a Friday afternoon. It closes early on Fridays now due to COVID. Nobody's even in there due to COVID. And we need to rush $17,000 over to the court, or else Diane and Brad are going to spend the full weekend in jail. And everything's going to shut down over the weekend. So they're in there unless we can somehow get the money to bail them out. And we had something like a 2-hour time frame.
Right. So I remember you called me. You call me and you say...
I'm like, honey, handle this.
Yeah, basically. And I was like, where's Abby? Abby, we need you. So we were like, wait, This is impossible, first of all, because like the audience doesn't know Diane and Brad, but they are the nicest, kindest, most upstanding, cool people. Like, these are not even potentially drunk driving lunatics who attack the cops.
They're not. I mean, I think if someone got aggressive with Diane, I could see Brad stepping in. That made some sense. But otherwise, none of it was in character. The
only thing that gave us pause was it was COVID. Yeah. Things were nuts. Everyone was behaving bizarrely. So there really was a piece that was like, did they have some sort of a meltdown? Did something like it was so bizarre.
So mom gave me the phone number. I called the lawyer. He was explaining he needs $17,000 in cash. He reiterates much of what my mom told me, which is the window is closing. It's, due to COVID protocols, the whole thing shuts down at, 4:00 on a Friday, and it goes dark for the weekend. So we have only this amount of time to get them out of, the holding cell. So, can you get $17,000 in cash to Cape Cod right now? And I'm thinking, I can't get myself to Cape Cod in 2 hours, let alone $17,000 in cash. So you and I start scrambling for ideas to how to deal with this.
Right. So and it's not that easy to get $17,000 cash like that. So I'm trying to figure out how to get the money, and you're talking to your mom, trying to calm your mom down. You're calling your brothers, letting them know what's happening with Di. Everybody's like, my God, this is a nightmare. And what was the next thing that happened? I'm trying to remember the next step in the chain.
We were scrambling around to try to get money. We were talking to the lawyer. We'd ask him questions like, what is a way we can do this? And we had the idea to call Diane Brad's friend in Cape Cod who has sort of a whale watching business. He has a number of big charter boats where you can go out and watch the whales off Provincetown.
Which we've done with him before.
So Steve. And so we call Steve, who, thank God, picks up the phone, and we get him up to speed on the problem.
Here's that friend, Steve from Cape Cod.
Apparently this needed to be done locally, so Doug called me because I'm a close friend of both Brad and Diane. It was a pretty large sum, and he said that I'd be reimbursed after we got him out. But because it was a weekend, things couldn't be done normally.
So then we call back to Laura and say, we've got someone on the ground, on the Cape, with the cash. Where do we go? So he says, actually, I'm not there now, so there's no one to receive the cash. So he pivoted to saying, you can use cryptocurrency. Because of, again, COVID, the courts will accept, in these extreme circumstances, the courts will actually accept cryptocurrency.
And he was saying he was going to give us a wire to send it directly to the court.
There was a phone to the court. We could call the court, and they had, they matched up case numbers.
And we did call the court.
Yeah.
We called the court. We dialed the number and that the lawyer had given us. We had an official person answer. We were put on hold. They asked us for the case number. We gave them the case number. They looked it up. They said Diane and Brad. They had their names, and they verified everything that we had been told thus far. This month, we celebrate Father's Day. And let's take a moment to talk about dads. Dads can bring values to the home. They can help you stand up for your beliefs. This Father's Day, I want to give you one way you could honor the legacy of dads with an AMAC membership. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, champions the values of faith, family, and freedom. You can find out more at amac.us/Megyn. By joining AMAC, you support an organization that fights for principles that you care about. And this month only, you get a 2-year membership for just $16. That's 2 years for the price of one. Join thousands of people in America who are proud to be AMAC members. Visit amac.us/Megyn. Let's celebrate Father's Day by standing up for what dads believe in. Happy Father's Day. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.